I love feudal Japan. In fact, I love this time period so much that when I heard about a certain game where you play as a Ronin with guns, I was immediately sold. So I went out to get all 51 trophies this game has to offer. Now, while some of these are absolutely great, there were some that forced me to grind stupid collectibles for hours and fight bosses that were almost impossible. Now don't forget to subscribe, as we've just passed 300 subscribers and it would be amazing to reach that 500 mark. Thank you so much. Our journey starts in the very beginning, where I handcrafted the most beautiful, stunning Ronin to ever walk the earth. After that, I jumped headfirst into the main story, where me and my blade twin were sent out on an assassination mission. But out of nowhere, this blue demon showed up and beat my ass. Which, for whatever reason, turned my blade twin into a villain for the remaining part of the game. But more on this bozo later, because there is a trophy tied to this specific relationship at the end. And also, this blue demon will return later as well, because even though it's literally impossible to do any damage at all, I'll have to defeat him right here in this very mission for the trophy Tears of a Blue Demon. Now I got my first trophy by completing the prologue, and very soon after that I also got the trophy Resonance after equipping 4 pieces of gear with the same stat boost. To get the main quest going, me and my new Ronin friend Ryoma had to steal some gliders from bandits in order to get into the main city. Completing this quest created a bond with Ryoma, and since this was my very first bond, I also got the trophy Threads of Fate. Now later on, I would have to complete every single bond quest in this game for one of the most stupid trophies, Friendly Neighborhood Ronin, and there are a lot of bond quests. But for now, I actually went back to the first area of the map to clear out some collectibles, and after defeating my guy Kip the Carrier, I got the trophy Collector for clearing out the area. And after praying at one of these shrines, I also increased my area bond to level 3, which gave me Home Sweet Home. At this point, I could now freely walk around the city and I could continue the main story. There are basically 2 sides here. There is the Shogunate side and the anti-Shogunate side. But I'm not gonna lie, the game definitely does push you in certain directions, especially at the start, dude. Like, bro did not look friendly at all. And this even resulted in me basically thinking that I was supposed to kill the Shogun, but this ended up being a huge mistake later on. Now while I was here in the city, I unlocked my very own longhouse, and by remodeling something here for the first time, I got the trophy Fresh Start. While I was going about my Ronin business,
just hanging around,
I tried to get as many assassinations as possible, because I would have to get 100 of these to get the trophy Shadow Stalker. So after just a couple of hours of stealthing around, I finally got it. Like I mentioned before, my blade twin became my main op for no reason, and I would really come to find this out when I ran into her for the first time since we got separated. This was honestly annoying as f. But on the bright side, I did get another trophy. Now, for the trophy Lifesaver, I would have to complete a mission under very specific circumstances. I usually run in Blade first, but for this one I would have to calm down the violent voices in my head. Because during some missions, the quest givers ask you to kindly, for the love of God, don't kill anyone. This, of course, was fine with me, as long as I could still beat them with wooden sticks instead. Now one very important character in this game is Igashishi, who not only teaches us how to photograph, which will come back for a trophy later on, but he also gives us different upgrades if we give him books and increase our bond level with him. So it's only natural that I would wanna give bro a little gift to increase our bond. And as this was the very first gift I ever gave to an NPC, I got the trophy One Good Turn Deserves Another. Now I kinda just had to lock in for the main story at this point, cause the expected time for this platinum is 55 hours, and I honestly did not want to have to spend more time than necessary in these goofy ass dialogues.
What in the world? How are you still alive?
And don't worry, you're not missing out on much at all, cause for the entire story I just jump between the factions, but then at the end it doesn't even matter what side you've chosen, because they kinda just agree to stop killing each other. And that's it. The only different types of endings had to do with our dumbass Blade Twin, but I'll come back to this very soon. These are the trophies I got by just completing the main missions, but I also got a couple of other trophies during this grind, like money bags for collecting 150k coins. I also got Good to Go and Transfer of Power at one of the blacksmiths. Good to Go is gotten by upgrading your armor, your weapon and sub-weapon at least once, and I got Transfer of Power by transferring the stat effects of one weapon to another. Now, back with our homie Igashishi, I actually got another 2 trophies. The first one was Contraption Creator, which I got after acquiring 15 upgrades. This increased my bond with Igashishi a lot. In fact, even enough to reach bond level 4, giving me the second trophy, Fateful Encounter. Now, with some characters, this would mean that I could probably start a romantic relationship for some spicy action, which does actually give you a trophy, but my boy here was not really my type, so this would have to wait just a little while. Before I went ahead and completed the game, there were a few things I wanted to do first. The game allows you to do different training activities and you can reach different ranks within all of these. Now, to get these 4 trophies, I would have to reach master rank for each one, and the dojo training was definitely the most frustrating, because I kept messing up my timing with these counters again and again, bro. But I finally got it, which means that I am now master of all. There are actually 3 main characters in this game that are slowly dying. These guys include our homie Ryoma, one of the main Shogun guys Soji, and one of the main anti-Shogun guys Shinsaku. Saving all of these guys' lives would give me 1 trophy each, so I began with the guy I like the least, Shinsaku. This guy is just obnoxious for no reason and suffers from a chronic gambling addiction, but he also suffers from a deadly case of tuberculosis, and the only way to get medicine is by defeating this guy with a f***ing Slenderman ass build. Like, how did bro even attain this physique, dude? But long story short, he basically guards some medicine that we then use on Shinsaku to save his life. Now, for the second guy, Soji, he's just kinda a real ass dude who also happens to suffer from tuberculosis. So once again, we go out and defeat some guy guarding medicine, and then we save Soji's life. Now, for the case with Ryoma, it's all our Blade Twin's fault. If you don't hate her by now, you'll definitely hate her after this. So during the mission The Omni-In incident, our Blade Twin pulls up and absolutely violates Ryoma. We of course respond to this by fighting her once again, but the only way to actually save Ryoma is by having already completed all of his 4 individual bond missions before this. Luckily, I did already do that, meaning that Ryoma actually survived in my first playthrough, giving me the trophy Twilight Fencer. You actually level up your combat styles in this game by increasing your bond level with NPCs. So now, after I'd saved the lives of those 3 characters, I also mastered their combat styles. This gave me the trophy Style Guru by mastering a total of 3 combat styles. At this point, there was one character that I had spent a lot of time with, to the point where our bond level was high enough to start a romantic relationship. This was the nurse Ine, and so the very last thing I did before finishing up the main story was to allow my friendly Ronin buddy here to fall in love, giving me the trophy Veiled Vow. Now then, I was for the final time confronted by my Blade Twin, and I knew what I had to do. This was a very hard fight. But eventually I did get the better of her. She told me that everything she did was for me, which didn't make sense at all, like you tried to kill me and the gang multiple times. But the final decision was mine. I honestly did want to kill her right there because she had literally done everything she could to make me dislike her. But for the sake of this challenge, I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't miss out on any future Bond missions, so I had to let her go, giving me the trophy Dawn of a New Japan for completing the final chapter, and also a Veiled Edge's Future for deciding the fate of my Blade Twin. With that, I was done with the story, and I could begin cleaning up the rest of the trophies. I wanted to get all of the Bond missions out of the way, which would give me the trophy Friendly Neighborhood Ronin, and there's a good reason why I called this trophy stupid. I was actually missing one of these missions entirely, meaning that some decision I made along the way probably messed up my timeline, and that's when I remembered. I killed the OG Shogun back in chapter 1, meaning that I would have to go back, replay this mission and spare him if I wanted to finally unlock the last Bond mission. Doing this also gave me the trophy traveling through time, since this was my first time replaying a mission. This is where it gets kinda weird, because this last ally I would have to get was the Blue Demon. Yeah, the same guy who brutally beat me up last time and who I'll have to go back and defeat later for the trophy Tears of a Blue Demon. But for now, we're friends, I guess. At this point, I had completed all other 58 Bond missions except for this one. So after I went out for some bandits who were harassing this merchant with some help from the Blue Demon, I was super relieved to finally be done with this trophy. So there were a bunch of trophies that forced me to go back and redo missions in different ways. First of all, the trophy Midnight Crossing required me to replay a mission with the midnight difficulty turned on, and honestly this turned even one of the first boss fights into a nightmare. But after I finally did that, I replayed this mission again without any allies to get the trophy Solitary Ronin, and then it was finally time to go back to that one mission and once again test my abilities against the Blue Demon. I was nervous because I definitely haven't forgotten about our first time fighting, but I knew that I was like 50 levels higher now, so I went in on this dude, and this was the most satisfying disrespect I have ever given to a boss battle, and I got this trophy to show for it. But before I went back and cleared out the map, there was still one trophy I had left that would require me to replay missions with every ally in the game. This should not be that hard, but I had messed up. I played this one mission over and over with different allies because I was sure that the trophy was glitched. I even got this trophy since I got bored and tried every weapon type. But as a matter of fact, I was missing one ally. Apparently there is this one random ass dude who becomes your ally if you just speak to him. I would never have found this out without Google, and this actually made me mad as hell. But at least I could finally move on. One trophy that I was constantly working on was Fancy Meeting You Here, where I would have to complete 50 random chance encounters. These are just small world events where you usually end up fighting someone. These are very fast and I got 50 of them pretty easy, and doing enough of these actually got me to reach level 55, which gave me the trophy Well-Rounded Ronin. And while on the topic of leveling up, I had to fully max out one of these skill trees for the trophy A Jack of One Trade is a Master of All. But I'll be straight up, this was a grind, because the different skill points are very hard to get, and I was down bad for those strength points. I did different types of fights, gave gifts to certain characters and everything I could to finally afford the last skill. So when I was able to finally pop that trophy, I was very happy. Now for the next trophy, I would have to become a certified Fed. Because to get Keeper of Peace, I had to turn in 50 criminal fugitives to the police. These guys are like mini bosses that you have to defeat, and some are honestly pretty cool. One dude was even a fucking dog. So these guys are definitely a fun challenge, and it only took me a couple of hours to hand in all 50 of these. The trophy Sightseer is probably the most beautiful trophy in this game. The only thing I needed for this was of course the camera that Igashishi gave to me, and access to all 3 regions. The trophy had me take all 44 photographs that are available in the game. Now I honestly enjoyed this trophy a lot. So when I got that last photo, I was actually kinda sad, cause I wanted more. But the next trophy left me feeling nothing but exhausted. This was Cats All Over, which had me collect every cat in the whole game. This was pretty wholesome at first, but after I realized that there were 100 cats to find, my emotions changed up fast. I traveled across all regions just to pet these dumbass cats for this trophy. And for you, so don't forget to leave a like on this video. Now the next trophy was the last thing I had to clear out. For the trophy Cheater Beater, I had to call out cheaters while gambling 5 times. I then had to beat up the owners, and that was it. So I was now at the last trophy. This was by no means the hardest trophy, but I chose to do it last since it's definitely one of the coolest looking ones. For the final trophy, Dive Off the Ronin, I had to dive off the temple in Kyoto, giving me a beautiful view to also finally get that platinum trophy. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and make sure to subscribe if you're new here, it really does help me out. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!